program is presented by Success Society International. See you at the top. When Albert Einstein was taking the last few breaths of his life, he was in a hospital and he was working in one of his speech when he told the nurse that now I want to rest. So the nurse took him to a window. Near the window his bed was there, and then she asked Albert Einstein, outside the window was a very beautiful garden, and then Albert Einstein was asked by that nurse that, oh Albert Einstein, who do you think built that garden? Do you think God built that garden? You know what Albert Einstein said? Albert Einstein said that not only that garden, but that garden as well as the gardener, both is God. Hello everyone, this is Vaibhav Nahata, your presenter for Being Champions. All excited for today's fantastically awesome episode in Being Champions. My dear champions, I have a question for you, and let me make you think with this question really very bad today. You are one person in your class. Your class is one class among so many other in your school. Your school is one school among so many other schools in the town. Your town is one town among so many other towns in the country. Your country is one country among so many other countries in the world. Your world is one world among so many other worlds in the worlds. My dear champions, the question I have is, how big are you? The reality, this might sound depressing, but the reality is that we are this bit in this world. This bit. Out of that so big universe, like I am talking right now, so many other people might be talking at this same moment. But my dear champions, the beauty of being a human is, no matter how small we are able to make impact in the biggest scale we want. The question is, what scale do you want to play at? What's your field? What's your playground? Is your classroom your playground? Is your school your playground? How big do you want to become? Do you want to rock in your class, your school, your city, your country? What's your vision? Because this vision will make all the difference. The question is, how big game do you want to play? My dear champions, in today's episode of Being Champions, we are going to learn and take us ourselves through some of the journeys of those champions who made it to the very top through all the odds. So this is no specific theme in today's episode, but a lot of random learnings from the super high achievers, my dear champions. So my question is, how many of you have heard of Tyrone Bogus? Anyone? Well, not many have. This Tyrone Bogus was 5 feet and 6 inch player, one of the lowest height player ever played in the history of NBA. So he was signed by the Washington Bullets, and along with him, Monty Ball, the tallest player ever in the NBA, were in the same team. Now Monty Ball was paid lots of money to be in the team because he was tallest. He had the advantage of making those baskets, and there was this kid. But you know what happened? This guy named Tyrone Bogus completely flooded and changed the way people look basketball, because he scored 7.6 if I'm not wrong. It was his average score in every single game, which was almost 2 times that of Monty Ball. His rebounds, the passes for the goals, for the baskets was even more than Michael Jordan. The question is, how did he make it? His one quote that really inspired me so much, he says that I am a penny. I agree that I'm just a penny, but I'm a penny among dimes. So if you know US currency, that's what you understand with that quote, that I'm penny, I'm 10 cents, maybe I'm small, but I'm a small among the smaller ones. So it's about how big game you want to play, champion. What's your Maidan? What's your playground? Because the bigger your playground is, the bigger opportunities you will have to hit. My dear champions, one thing I want you to keep in your heart all the time is that I want to play the A game, that I want to do something very big. Even when you don't know what you want to do, you must know that I want to do something really big. There's one video about Tyrone Bogus, and after that video, I'll come back to you with some other learning content over here.
In a part of a winning team.
For all of Spud's accomplishments, Muggsy Bogues' story is perhaps even more incredible. At only 5'3", he entered the NBA as the shortest player in league history. And as he joined the Washington Bullets, who also boasted the league's tallest player, it seemed that he would be more of an oddity than a legitimate player.
When I first got drafted, I thought, they was really committed to me. But as the season went along, I just saw it as a novelty act, just something to sell tickets.
After a frustrating rookie season, he was left unprotected in the expansion draft. But turning this apparent rejection into an opportunity, he would make his mark with the Charlotte Hornets.
Bogues at the top, penetrates, goes in for the layup. It is good!
Is he exciting? I'd pay to see him.
He just disrupts everything.
What a steal by Muggsy Bogues!
No guys running around in between your legs.
Pounded by Muggsy.
He just plays with so much heart and hustle.
Fumbled for a moment. Bogues picks his pocket.
I try to put pressure on my opponent every time, and I know that I'm going to get it sooner or later.
Stolen by Muggsy.
In addition to his defensive skills, Muggsy also became a premier playmaker.
Great pass by Muggsy!
I feel very comfortable dribbling the basketball without looking at it, and it allowed me to look around and see what's going on out on the basketball court.
From 1990 to 1994, only John Stockton accumulated more assists, a feat that Muggsy's teammates clearly appreciated.
It makes me run harder because I know that, hey, if I run, I'm going to get the ball. He's always told me, Joe, you run out, I will see you.
Muggsy's inspirational story has made him a fan favorite, especially for smaller fans.
Go Muggsy!
For them, he's a role model with whom they can easily identify.
Muggsy!
I really never thought about my height. Other people see me as 5'3". I just see myself as a person and not really any height. I just play my game and just play the best way I know how.
For all the obstacles that Spud and Muggsy overcame,
Tyron Bogus, the super high achiever. I'm always so inspired, and that video really made me think once again about what we know our capabilities. Vivek Bindra says it so well that when you expand your limits, you become great, and when you expand your expanded limits, you become greater. When you expand your expanded limits, you become more greatest, and when you keep on growing and going on this process, you become limitless. So if you want to ever create no limits for yourself, play the A game, play in the biggest playground in the world, remember this and keep saying to yourself that I want to be the A player, that I want to play the big game and I want to achieve big results through that big game. My dear champions, I have one more question for you today, and that question is very simple. Where do you want to reach? Here's the story of Navjot Singh Sidhu. How many of you have heard of him? So Navjot Singh Sidhu was a player for the Indian team, and he was known as Sixer Sidhu. He beat a lot of sixers in the world. So he was from a privileged family, and he used to cheat his parents every single day. His father really wanted him to be a great player, so he used to wake him up 4 o'clock every morning so that he can go and run. Now he used to pay 20 rupees to the maid and allow him to sleep, and every morning when his 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, when you knew Papa was going to come, he used to get a little dirty, a little water over his body, and then show that I had a very hard day. The father used to always love him like anything after that hard work. But as time passed by, he tried to play for India, he tried to play for the Ranjis, etc. He could not score good, and then a newspaper called him Navjot Singh Sidhu, a strokeless wonder. It meant that he was from a privileged family, and that's why he got the opportunity. That time, for the first time in his life, he saw his father crying, and that really transformed. I'm getting goosebumps when I'm saying this. That really transformed the way he saw life, the way he saw cricket. He says that day I threw all my colorful clothes, and he had only white clothes, white colored t-shirts in his wardrobe. He was living like a monk, and he used to hit so many 100 sixes every single day. His hands used to have all those pumpkin size, big size falas all over his hand. But he said that until I don't hit this many sixes, I won't be able to make it. And finally a day came, he played for India, and he played like anything. And the same writer who wrote him as strokeless wonder, he said that Navjot Singh Sidhu, from a strokeless wonder to a great player. My dear champions, my question is, whom do you want to cheat? Do you think you can cheat yourself. No matter whom you cheat, you can go and cheat your parents who trust and believe that when you are using your phone, you are helping yourself become a better person. You can cheat your teachers when they see you studying but you're not studying at that point of time. You can cheat every single person in the world with effort. But my dear champions, my question is, can you cheat that shadow of yours? Can you cheat the mirror, the person you see in the mirror? And even if you cheat, if you are cheating yourself, you're cheating on your future, and your future will be very embarrassed about that, my dear champions. So my dear question is very simple again, that how big do you want to play? And if you really want to be the A player, the big player, there is a commitment you have to make to yourself, and that commitment is something I'm trying to make in this process. I'm learning about it, but my dear champions, it's a journey all of us have to make together at this point of time. So here comes a video of Navjot Singh's video. So here comes a video of Navjot Singh Sidhu's journey, and after that I'll come back to you.
इंसान जन्म से नहीं होता, कोयल कूक से, पेड़ फल से, खेत उपज से, इंसान अपने कर्म से होता है। कोई जन्म से ऊंचा नहीं होता दोस्त। हंस और बगला मानसरोवर में इकट्ठे रहते हैं, हंस मोती खोजता है, बगला मछलियां खोजता है। कमल का फूल कीचड़ में उगता है, लेकिन अपने गुणों की वजह से परमात्मा श्री हरि के शीश पे चढ़ता है। तो आदमी सोच से होता है, सोच से। इस सृष्टि को बदलना है तो दृष्टि को बदलना होगा। दैट्स व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट। दैट इफ यू हैव टू अचीव, you've got to believe. You've got to be a believer to be an achiever. Fear clogs, faith liberates. Doubt creates a mountain and faith tunnels through it. So I'm going to talk about the positivity that champions bring about them. A leader brings light to a room. He brings belief to a room. There cannot be any fruit without the root, and the root cause to all success, according to me, is belief. For fear is the dark room in which negatives are developed. Fear clogs, faith liberates. ये जो नेगेटिविटी आती है ना, ये इसी डर की वजह से आती है। दानवीर कर्ण से लड़ने जा रहा था जब अर्जुन, तो उसके सारथी ने दानवीर को बोला कि तुम एक अजय रणभट्ट रणधीर योद्धा से लड़ने जा रहे हो, तुम्हें भय नहीं लगता? दानवीर कर्ण ने बहुत अच्छा उत्तर दिया। उसने कहा, मद्र नरेश, वो काठ के योद्धा होते हैं जिन्हें डर नहीं लगता। आई एम नॉट अ वुडन वॉरियर, दैट आई एम नॉट अफ्रेड। लेकिन मैं अपने डर को, अपने आत्मविश्वास को कुरेदने नहीं देता। And that's how a champion behaves. That's how a champion becomes an achiever. That's what separates a champion from a common man. He has the courage to conquer his fears. What I mean to say is that anybody who can face adversity doesn't buckle down under pressure. Pressure is what you allow it to be. कुछ लोग प्रेशर में बेचारा बन जाते हैं, उनको लोग याद नहीं करते, लेकिन कुछ लोग समर के निखर के आते हैं। एक पत्थर चोट खा के कंकर कंकर हो गया, और एक पत्थर चोट सह के शंकर शंकर हो गया। मेरी जिंदगी का सार है ये बिलीवर्स क्लब, अचीवर्स क्लब में। नो, the greatest ideas that I have come across are in graveyards, because people don't have the guts to implement their ideas. They don't have the courage to back their ideas. Almost all absurdity of conduct arises when people imitate others. And when you imitate someone, you can never be the other person, and you lose yourself in the process. अलग अलग कुओं के पानी का स्वाद अलग अलग है। जो ध्वनि सोने के बर्तन से आती है, वो कांसे के बर्तन से कभी नहीं आएगी दोस्त। और इस संसार में दो आदमियों के फिंगरप्रिंट एक जैसे नहीं होते। हर आदमी अलग है, हर आदमी की अलग पहचान है। अरे नाम ही खोदोगे तो किधर जाओगे, और पहचान खोदोगे लल्ला तो बिखर जाओगे। समझे? मेरी जिंदगी सबसे तगड़ी चीज यही है कि I've been myself. I've never changed. First they will laugh at you, then they will walk with you, and then they will applaud you. यही होता है। A man with a new idea is referred to as a crank until the idea succeeds. But you must have it in you. You have to believe in your ideas and then must have the power to execute your good intentions. Good intentions die unless they are executed, my dear friend. वो कमजोरी को ताकत में तब्दील करता है, राह की बाधा को सफलता की सीढ़ी बनाता है, हार को जीत में तब्दील करता है. यही एक चैंपियन की सोच है बॉस. A champion has the tenacity to claw out of a difficult situation. परिंदों को मंजिल मिलेगी हमेशा, ये फैले हुए उनके पंख बोलते हैं. वही लोग रहते हैं खामोश अक्सर जमाने में जिनके हुनर बोलते हैं.
I'm sure that video really inspired you. So many people, sometimes the super successful, the achievers, say that I am here because I got lucky. So the question is that, are they really lucky to be there? I watched this concept very recently and I was so inspired. So the reality about the luck thing we talk about is that when you are able to hit 2 arrows from a distance for a sight, and you hit 10 arrows on the same side, which has more probability? Of course, when you hit 10, there is more probability that you will hit it, right? That's what luck is. So you get yourself, when you work hard, when you're dedicated, when you're committed, when you're dreaming, you work hard and work so well that you put yourself into position where you can get lucky. You getting it? You put yourself into positions where you can get lucky, and that's what makes all the difference. My dear champions, thank you so much for watching today's episode of Being Champions with Vaibhav Nahata. Here comes a wonderful video and then I'll come back to you.
None of us wake up and say, today is the day I destroy my life. What we do is we kind of check out because it feels overwhelming, or we check out because we're afraid, or we check out because we start listening to self-doubt, and then we make these teeny tiny decisions all day long. We don't even realize it. A decision to not get up on time, a decision to not eat the right thing, a decision to snap at your kids, a decision to not speak in a meeting, a decision to not look for a job, a decision to not deal with your finances, a decision to not call your parents, like whatever it is. All day long, these tiny decisions that take you so far off track. And then you wake up like I did and you look at your life and you think, how the hell did I get here? And more importantly, how do I get back over there? And you have no idea. And so I was so trapped. And I know from your story, you felt the same way. Like you knew that there was more in store for you, but you couldn't figure out, how do you close that gap? How do you find the power that's in you? How do you discover your greatness? How do you solve these problems? It feels so overwhelming when you can't. I mean, I would go to the grocery store and the items would scan and I would be sitting there readying my excuse because there was no way that my check card was going to clear.
Wow.
So I got in this struggle with myself that a lot of us find ourselves in, and that is you get trapped in what I call the knowledge action gap. You know what to do, but you can't seem to make yourself do it. You ever had one of those nights? Probably before you started your company, but where you go in bed and you're like, all right, Tom, that's it. Tomorrow, it's the new me. Tomorrow, I'm gonna get up on time. I am gonna go to the gym. I am gonna look for a job. I'm not gonna drink so much. It's gonna be amazing. The new me, the future me. Woo! Let's do this, right? Then you go to bed and you wake up 7 hours later and you're like, I don't feel like the new me. It's the only, that's a stupid, see, motivation's garbage. It's never there when you need it. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. And so here's what happened to me, and thank you for wearing the NASA t-shirt. It's a really stupid story.
It's a powerful story.
So one night, Chris had gone to bed. I'd been struggling. We still had all the same problems. We still had a lien on the house, still facing bankruptcy, still fighting like crazy. I was still unemployed. They still hadn't figured out like the solution yet for the business. And I was about to turn off the TV, and there on the TV, there was this rocket launching, and I thought, oh my gosh, That is it. I am going to launch myself out of bed like a rocket ship, like NASA right here had launched me out of that bed. And I'm going to move so fast that I don't think. I'm going to beat my brain. Now, here's a really interesting point. I talk a lot about your instincts and inner wisdom. And we can get into this a little bit later, but a lot of us talk about the fact that you have a gut feeling. But what all this research that I've done for the book and all the speaking that I do, what I've discovered that's fascinating is actually when you set goals, when you have an intention on something that you want to change about your life, your brain helps you. What it does is it opens up a checklist, and then your brain goes to work trying to remind you of that intention that you set. And it's really important to develop the skill, and I say that word purposefully, the skill of knowing how to hear that inner wisdom and that intention kicking in and leaning into it quickly. So for me, my brain saying, that's it, right there, move as fast as a rocket, Mel. I wanted to change my life. And I think most people that are miserable or that are really like dying to be great and dying to have more, we want to change. We want to live a better life. We want to create more for our families. We want to be happier. The desire is there. Again, it's about how do you go from knowledge to action. So the first thing in this story that's important is realizing that the answer was in me. And my mind was telling me, pay attention. The next morning, the alarm goes off, and I pretended NASA was there. It's the stupidest story. I literally went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I counted out loud, and then I stood up. And I'll never forget standing there in my bedroom. It was dark, it was cold, it was winter in Boston. And for the first time in 3 months,
I'm sure that video again inspired and made you feel that I'm a super champ, that I can do anything I want in my life. And thank you so much for watching today's episode of Being Champions with Vaibhav Nahata. Next Monday, 7 p.m. I'll be back with greater zeal, energy and enthusiasm only on Being Champions with Vaibhav Nahata. This program is presented by Success Society International. See you at the top.